Hey, are you there? Hello, 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 everyone. Let me just get set up very quickly here. Turn off the engine, get my windows set up. Alright, so we're getting started, and we have today's marquee matchup, which is Tony Rowe with the white pieces, our good man Tony Rotella, and Felix Nell with the black pieces. So a very high-skilled matchup, which should be a lot of fun. Let me quickly get caught up with the game. As soon as I can find this, I gotta open this over here. So many windows, so many things happening. Good lord. But Quirked, how do you even keep track of all this stuff? I don't know. So Tony Rowe trying c4 this time. This is a little bit interesting. Normally I see a lot of g3, knight f3, bishop g2 from Tony Rowe, playing these sorts of systems, but decides to start with c4. And Felix actually plays what I play against c4, which is e6. And this aims to get sort of a QGD structure, possibly. If white plays d4 and black plays d5, all of a sudden it's a Queen's Gambit declined. So this says, I'm not going to play a symmetrical English, and I'm not going to play reverse Sicilian. I want to play a Queen's Gambit declined. So that's what Felix is saying here with this move e6. He's saying, I want to get this structure, and maybe white will play d4, and we'll have a Queen's Gambit declined. Now Tony Rowe went g3, very, very standard. We're going to put the bishop here, knight here, and if I play d4, it'll probably transpose into a Catalan. But we'll see what happens. Nuck strike. Are you Felix? Yeah, you're not allowed to watch. Go away. G3, and now c5. Okay, this is interesting. So now Felix is entering sort of a symmetrical English structure with the pawn already on e6. I'm going to be honest, I don't exactly know a lot about this structure. It's certainly an interesting decision. He's really clamping down on d4, so he's making it difficult for white to play d4, or more difficult. Not incredibly difficult, but more difficult, which means that black is laying claim to some central space, and perhaps he'll try to play d5 himself and really take over the center. Tony Rowe played knight f3, very normal. Here I might play knight c6 just to clamp down on the d4 square, but Felix played knight f6, which I'm sure is also a fine move. Now white does have the option of playing d4 if he would like, and then we'd enter sort of a con Sicilian, except there's no e4. No, it's not a con Sicilian. d4 is definitely interesting here, but Tony Rowe just develops, plays bishop g2. Now bishop e7. White castles. I expect to see black castles here. And we've just had some normal developing moves. So that's all well and good. And yeah, black castle. I just want to go back for a moment here because I think with this move, knight f6, we have not clamped down on the d4 square, so I think it would be interesting to see what happens if white plays d4 here. I think we would see takes, takes, and we are slightly exposed along this diagonal. And perhaps I can give the check or play bishop c5 and just say, I've traded my c-pawn for your d-pawn, which is structurally slightly better for black. And if I can play d5, I will have a good position. I think this would be roughly equal after a move such as bishop c5. and I just have this active square for this bishop. It's slightly nice. I'll continue with knight c6 and have a pleasant position. So I think that's why Toniro instead opted for the more quiet bishop g2, bishop e7, castles, castles, and the option of d4 is still on the table, if he so desires, with similar positions. But it should all be roughly equal. This is not the most ambitious opening for white, and I think it will lead directly to equality. And here we see knight c3. I don't think Toniro is a big fan of sort of, although here bishop c5 would lose a move, but here I just play knight c6, and black looks comfortable, at least in these positions. Here black is also likely comfortable, although he will have to solve the problem of this bishop. That's consistently an issue in these sorts of positions with the Catalan bishop just raking across the board. Oftentimes the b7 pawn is very, very tender, especially after this move c5. You can no longer play c6. So oftentimes this bishop remains tied to this b7 pawn, and black will need to take some time to unravel this pawn. Oftentimes that comes from the moves knight c6, rook b8, and then our bishop comes out to d7. But black has played more energetically, and I like this move. Very thematic, and this came out very, very quickly. Takes, takes, and d4. So now Tony strikes out with d4. Let's wheel this back. d5 is a very, very desirable move for black if he can play it. And Tony, of course, trades. Trading does sort of trade this pawn for this pawn. Excuse me, let me get rid of this circle. We're trading our c pawn for our e6 pawn, which is not the most favorable trade for white. But if I don't trade, then probably d4 is coming, which would be very, very disruptive to white's pieces. This knight would be very uncomfortable if it got kicked away. So it is important to trade, and I need to prevent d4, so I'm going to play d4 myself. Hello, is that Mr. Chess Analyst?
Yeah, I was having trouble with my mic. Glad to be back on the stream.
Yeah, welcome. Chess Analyst is going to be our co-host for the first 2 hours now that we've been bumped up so surprisingly. How you doing?
Yeah, and my game later.
How are you?
Pretty good. How have you been?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Give me just 1 second. I'm gonna get the other game started as well, because we have we have our second game. I changed our second game to Little Dead Bertha and K Farapont. So give me just 1 second, friends. There we go. And let's get caught up on this this second game that we have. Oh, I need to invite you to my study, don't I?
I'm already in there. Don't worry.
No, you're not. Oh, you are.
Oh,
but I have to add you as a contributor.
Oh, okay.
There we go. You're a genius. Okay, let me catch up on this game. So we have a second game. We're not going to be following just Toniro and Felix. We're also going to be looking at another board one game. Lots of really high quality games going on today. So I had a wealth of riches. And that's between Little Dead Bertha and K Farapont. And if I remember correctly, Little Dead Bertha actually she beat the young NM in the league. Who's that NM on board one?
Julie.
You cut out a little bit there.
Julie, I think.
Julian?
Yeah, yeah, he played just for a week.
He only played 1 week? I think you're having some mic issues.
Any better now?
Yes, much better.
I've had some mic trouble this morning.
You're good. So here we have a King's Indian by transposition. E5, castles, A6. Oh no, sorry, knight A6, not A6. I was like
knight A6, bishop E3, knight G4.
Mm-hmm. Bishop D2, I assume.
Bishop G5.
Oh, bishop G5. Okay. F6.
Bishop D2.
Not bishop. Okay, yeah. I saw the bishop D2 in the thing. Okay, let's scroll this back. So first off, we got a strange move order here for a King's Indian. Because here, after bishop D7, we saw E4. And I'm wondering if there's some way for black to take advantage of this. Like, I'm interested in playing something like C5 here.
Yeah, C5 makes a lot of sense, and I think C5 would normally be a good move here, but I would assume that black wanted to play King's Indian anyway, so that's why he did this move order anyway instead of playing C5. Probably C5, if somebody was trying to punish this move order, they would play C5.
Yeah, because this feels to me like black has equalized with this move C5.
Yeah. I think after D4, CD4, knight D4, white's...
Isn't this a Maroczy all of a sudden?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, so maybe I was hasty in saying that we've equalized, because the Maroczy is not equal.
Well, I mean, can equalize. It's black can get a hedgehog-like position by fianchettoing here with b6 and just playing solid.
Yeah, I mean, black will be solid. I have to say I don't think very highly of the Maroczy from the black side. I think the Maroczy is very comfortable for white.
Yeah, I think it is too, but there's danger in it, definite danger.
So this was playable. C5, D4. Do we have to take this? Can I play something else?
You can, but like, what are you going to play? D6 or B6? Castles.
I was wondering, can I play knight C6 and let you take on
knight C6,
D5? Yes, that's true.
Yeah, knight C6, D5 looks maybe
bad.
This kind of looks bad.
No, I absolutely agree with that. That was a not a good choice on my part, probably.
You would have to do something in the center, maybe D6, but taking looks probably.
So we have to take this. You're right. And then we'll get a Maroczy. So that was definitely playable, but it looks like the black player does want to play a King's Indian, and the white player says, "Okay, I have nothing better here than to play D4, and we're going to get a pretty mainline King's Indian."
And E5 takes happened. What?
No, castles.
I'm already up here.
We've maintained a lot of tension here. White has neither played D5 nor taken.
And now it looks like E takes D4 was played, knight takes D4. Yeah, and this looks for white.
Good. Aren't we forced to play knight H6?
The knight's under attack. This knight is kind of misplaced here unless you can get a knight C5. But I mean, white can always be solid with F3, and maybe something like A3 and B4 is possible for white.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one of black's issues is that he will never have time for knight C5 and A5, and those two moves are very desirable in tandem because you want to put your knight on C5, yeah, and then you sort of prevent me from playing B4. And if I want to play B4, I can't start with A3. It's very annoying because then you go A4. So if I would take en passant. Thank you for showing, chess analyst. So after A5, I have to take a lot of time to play B4 because I actually have to go B3 and then A3 and then B4, and that takes forever.
And that's way too slow.
Yeah, and the issue here is after knight C5, white just goes, okay, B4. And you don't have time to get this a5 move in to secure the knight on the c5 outpost.
Yep. And this is good for white.
Yeah, so
however,
I agree with your
King
assessment.
H1.
What'd you say? Sorry?
We're still waiting for a move there.
No, we haven't seen knight c5. That was my own creation. We're waiting for black's move here. And this knight is hanging, so he has to do something about that. I expect to see knight h6.
Or f5 maybe? f5 looks really weird though.
f5 should lose by force, I feel like.
Because I'd like to get back to this square.
Yeah, but now I'm eyeing stuff like this.
If you'll give me a knight, I'll take it.
You know, I'm just trying to make stuff happen because I feel like you've done something wrong. Yeah, but now you have knight f6. So I was hasty. I
But I think this might be a little much.
This knight is hanging after f5.
6 and then f5. Maybe makes more sense though.
Here I really dislike black's position.
So do I, but I mean, black has to do something. I mean,
Yeah,
you have to play something.
Okay, let me play.
Oh, wow, f5 was played.
Let me play like queen c1 here. I'm gonna target this knight again.
Ooh, then I guess I have to play knight f7 or...
You have to play knight f7, but my point is then you're not gonna play f5.
That's a very valid point. But maybe then I get the e5 square. And I can maybe put pressure here. It looks very bad for black though.
That's possible. In the game, we did see f5 immediately. Let me promote this. And white was a little bit more sane than me. He took this. And we can trade knights, potentially.
And it looks like knight takes h2 was played. Yeah, this is too much tactical for me. I can't deal with that.
Well, I understand the point of this. The point is, this knight is hanging and this knight is hanging. So if we can sell our knight for a pawn, that's good for us. The other point is, if you take like this, now I will play this move. And I'll be very happy. Because after takes, I'm up a pawn. So just the simple recap.
I like up pawns.
I like being up pawns too. I'm a greedy man. So the simple recapture. Yeah, the king's not happy at all. The simple recapture just isn't working for black. So black needs to find something better. If you take here, I'll take this. And this is a slightly better version than what we just saw, but even here, I wouldn't be thrilled to have the black pieces.
Yeah, king's way too exposed.
Especially because I might have some bishop h6 coming in soon.
Do we have any questions from our viewers?
Oh yeah, I haven't been checking chat at all.
I chat myself. I haven't had time.
Who's the second commentator? The second commentator is Chess Analyst, my man. Chess Analyst will be playing later today, so he may or may not be with us the whole show. But until he has to leave, I'm glad he's here, because then otherwise it's just me talking and it's really boring. So thank you for joining me.
Problem.
So after ef5, that's why knight takes h2 is played. We're trying to sell the knight for
a desperado tactic.
Yeah. So king takes h2 is not forced. And I was actually looking at this move, knight e6, instead of king takes h2.
Okay, so after knight e6, you're forking my queen and rook, so I would assume that I have to chop that off.
Yeah, and my point is, like, where does your knight want to live after this?
Well, now I take the rook. I think you have to take the knight.
Oh! Funny that. Imagine a world in where rooks are hanging. Yeah, you're right. That doesn't work. Do I have any other sort of in-betweeners?
I take here. What's going on?
I just gave away my pawn for no reason there.
Yeah, and maybe take with the rook too, because this is.
I have this square covered at least.
Ah, yeah, bishop. Never mind.
It's kind of backed up quite a bit.
Don't worry, you're not the only one going crazy.
So after knight h2, I missed that we did attack the rook. It looks like black is close to winning in this position. Because here,
yeah,
Queen
black's better.
Queen h4 came.
That's an easy move to find.
Yep. I gotta get my material back, so I'll take my piece back. Do I have a threat here? Am I threatening something on f2? I am threatening on f2 if you take. So you cannot take on g6. Because then I will have 3 attackers on f2.
So what's going on here? Like,
I think white's in some trouble because white is unable to do anything with this pawn, which means I'm gonna go down a pawn, I think, here.
What about like queen c1 here for white?
And white blundered very badly here. White played.
Ooh, white blundered.
White played the move g3.
That's not good. There's just queen takes g3. There's a pawn here.
And that was played. So g3, it's a really unfortunate move. Loses a pawn, and just this king is so airy now.
Yeah, there's this pin. This is a common tactic, very common tactic. When you lose to it once, you don't want to lose to it again. And I would definitely assume black has to have more than just bishop takes f2 here, though bishop takes f2 looks very good.
Black went queen h3.
That's also fine. King g1.
No, only move. And here, black is in the tank because we're looking for tactics here. But we can definitely take on f5. I'd have to decide with what piece to take on f5 with.
The rook, because I want to like.
I do have all the 5th rank covered.
Those bishops are very good here, for temporarily, anyways. But this has to be really bad for. Also, even bishop takes is, I think, reasonable.
I mean, either way, it gains material. I was even vaguely considering this move with the idea of swinging.
Yeah, that also, everything looks quite strong.
And what's so good about this move, I think, is that I prevent you from kicking my queen out.
Yeah, and I would assume moves like bishop f3 to go to g2 are just bad.
Well, and then I will go here, and if you go here, I'll pin it.
Yeah, and that's bad. Also, maybe you have this move.
That's certainly possible. And
I see here is white doesn't have f4 anymore.
Yeah.
Because like, if in this position the bishop went back, then I could play f4 maybe. Have to play f4. I might have to.
So,
but after bishop f4,
this game might be sort of dead on arrival. Because black certainly looks like he has a dominating position. Let's go back, because it got very complex very quickly. Here after takes f5. I felt like something went a little bit wrong for white here. In that maybe we don't want to trade this piece for this piece.
No. Also in these Maruxi bind positions, white generally wants to keep all 4 minor pieces on the board and just slowly work the position. So here, the move that I would really like to play is knight c2.
I was looking at that.
I would eventually want to play f3, kick your knight away, put my knight on e3, and then put a knight into d5. Eventually, maybe b3, a3, something slow here, because white just has the center. And if white can keep the center, then and black can't break it down, then white's just going to have an advantage for the rest of the game.
Also, in this Maroczy structure, I think this knight is misplaced on a6. I believe this knight usually comes to d7.
Yeah, unless the knight can get to f5, or c5, sorry, then I don't see what the knight is doing on a6.
And we immediately have some questions about this knight here, because you cannot take... I would take the knight. So maybe a move like knight f6 is sensible here. And this would have been a very playable position for white.
Here, I would probably... I get my pawns attacked, so I have to do something about that. I might have to take. I don't want to take, you know, because that gives away my center, but...
Can you play f3?
If I play f3, the immediate knight c5 doesn't work, but what about if I take... so f3, take, and then knight c5 here? And I want to try and target this pawn.
Here, I would play something very calm, like bishop f3. But then you do get your a5 in. And that's an achievement for black, to play a5.
Yeah.
That is something. So maybe I do have to take.
And then b4.
Yeah, the immediate knight c5 is no good.
Yeah, because of b4.
But
so,
I liked your idea of taking and then playing knight c5. Because
this pawn.
Now I have some issues. I can't push. It's hard to protect this pawn. I don't want to go bishop d3. And if I play something very, very slow... well, that's literally just hanging. I actually thought I was just giving the bishop for the knight, but it's literally just hanging. And I don't have any tactics. I have to allow a5. That's sort of sad. I didn't want to do that.
Well, if you allow a5...
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Also, moves like b3 probably are bad here, just because after a3 and b4 this is slow, but also because this knight would be less defended, and I'm worried about tactics on the c3 knight then.
Absolutely. In fact, after b3, maybe I have something immediate, like a knight takes e4. I'm not sure this works. It doesn't quite work.
I don't think it... Maybe it...
No,
I can't.
It'll be two pieces for the rook. So this would not quite work yet. I'll just show the line I'm looking at here. Here, we can actually just take this way.
Bishop a1, I would assume. Queen a1.
And this would be good for white. Although here, yeah, no, this is good for white. So this would not be immediately working, but those sort of show the ideas behind what happens when you loosen this diagonal.
Yeah.
So I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Maybe I can do something similar to that. Like, I want to get this tactic to work somehow.
Immediately?
Not immediately, but I want to prepare it. But I'm not sure how I would begin to prepare that. Maybe it's something that I really can't prepare. I just have to wait for it to work.
I think you have to wait for this bishop to move away.
Yeah, and this bishop on d2 anyways, because in these kinds of positions, specifically with pawns on these squares, the queen would like to be on d2 and the bishop would like to be on e3. Sort of like in the Yugoslav attack.
Yeah.
Where the bishop and queen create a nice battery, and the pieces just all control a lot of squares, and it's just a nice position for white.
Here I would probably, I don't know if I would even play b3 right away. I might prepare b3 with rook c1, and once I play rook c1, you have no tactics.
Yeah, and if the rook gets off of the diagonal, but still black has what, up a pawn here?
No. Just this pawn is
black.
Possibly weak.
So what happens after I play like queen e7 and I attack it again?
I might have to play a move like queen e2.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. And then, I mean...
And then I'll go rook c1, rook d1. Or I might even put my rooks on d1 and e1, because this is not a traditional Maroczy.
No, normally in the Maroczy you have your rook on c1 and on d1. In this case, you would want the rooks on d1 and e1.
Or maybe even leave this rook on the open f-file.
On the f-file also makes sense since it's open. Actually, probably the rook on f1 should stay there, and maybe this rook comes to e1 even.
What I'll say is, in all these positions, I kind of wish I hadn't played b3.
Yeah, so maybe
after a5, just go queen e2 immediately, and just say, okay, this knight can live here. I'll bring my rooks over, and maybe I'll even attack your king, who's a little bit breezy here.
Yeah, that makes sense. What's going on in our second game, or our first game? Tony Rowe versus Felix.
Yeah, we have a good game over here. We just saw Felix broke the center with d5, very thematic, and Tony Rowe broke back with d4. I was saying here we can't allow black to play d4. That would be very, very disruptive to our coordination. So,
yeah, I've had this position with white and black before, mostly with white.
You've had Tony Rowe's position before?
I'm sure.
It's sort of like a reverse Grunfeld, no?
No, after d4 though, it transposes into a Tarrasch. Queen's Gambit.
It is a Tarrasch. That's interesting.
The Tarrasch main line, or one of the main lines of the Tarrasch. I've had this countless times with white, and I used to play it with black until I found out how terrible it was.
No, this is okay, I think.
No, I like this for white. I think white's doing okay here, because black in most of these positions would prefer... Normally people that play this with black are okay with having isolated queen pawn positions. However, it can be very difficult to play with them. So a lot of the times black players here play c4. C4 is a move either here or very soon. But c4 releases the tension in the center, which is also never good.
Yeah,
and I find that it's quite easy to break down these c4 structures with b3 and a4 at the right moment, or just even working around it and playing e4 eventually, because the d pawn is, this d pawn, sorry, our d pawn is no longer attacked by the c pawn, so we can play e4 easier.
Yeah, I don't like this move c4. I think that black actually gets quite a lot of play in the IQP structures. I'll share, because I played d4 as white, which means I need to have something against the Tarrasch. And against the Tarrasch, knight c6 was played in the game, which is a very standard move. And I just want to share what I play. Here I play, as white, I play the double fianchetto system with b3. And I think black can get playable positions here. You can start... I think here you can start with the move knight e4. You can play bishop g4. You can even play b6, I want to say, and they're all fairly playable, I think.
I've never seen b6 here, I don't think. I play this too with white.
You play the double fianchetto?
6 here, maybe. I could be wrong, but b6 seems a little bit weird, no?
I think the point is, after, I think you go knight e4, and then later you play b6, because most times you want to You want to transfer into the hanging pawn structure and not the IQP.
That makes more sense, where your hanging pawns at least control quite a bit of the fourth rank.
Mm-hmm. So,
and this pawn isn't as weak as the isolated D pawn.
Exactly.
Generally.
That's the idea behind b6. It's not really to develop the bishop this way. This bishop actually likes coming out over here or to e6 or something. But the idea behind b6 is to take on c5 with the pawn and transfer to a hanging pawn structure, which will be stronger than just the IQP.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think black has vague equality in these positions. Black usually goes bishop f6 or something like that. Maybe b6 here. I don't remember my move orders. This is reminding me that I should probably go look at my file on the Tarrasch, because I clearly don't know what I'm doing here. But this is all playable for black.
So we have some more moves though. So what was played here? So after knight c6, we have
small board and clock are off. Uh-oh. For game 2? No, small board and clock are on. Sorry, I was just reading chat.
Bishop a3, h6, b4, bishop e7. Yeah, this looks very good for white, no?
Let me promote this really quickly.
Lots of pressure.
a3. h6 is very slow. I understand the reasoning behind it.
h6, though, doesn't seem right at all here. I would much prefer to quickly, maybe bishop g4, I want to say. I want something.
If you're worried about bishop g5, I would consider playing knight e4 here. I hung a pawn. I've hung a pawn. Well, is this so clear? I have hung my d4 pawn playing this move. Who's commentating? This is Quirked, and joining me is Chess Analyst.
Hello. Here, though, after knight takes,
it's not so clear, right?
Well, black gets a lot of activity for the pawn, and what you got to think is after like bishop e6, maybe these pieces are not working yet, and black is almost fully developed. So black's going to have a little bit of compensation for the pawn, but I would still much prefer white here, because I'm sure this is an easier task to defend this, because black have any immediate threats.
Yeah, here I would just go knight f4, and I'd sort of ask your bishop if it wants to move again.
Okay, yeah, this makes trading queens can't be good. Wait.
Ooh.
One.
Yeah. I was thinking, what if instead of that, what if we do this first?
Okay, and then we can't take because the queen is hanging. Okay, I missed.
In fact, what if I take with the knight?
Taking with the
knight.
No,
that allows the queen trade to happen.
Then I can trade queens and then take.
But you're gonna run into a double check here.
Knight. Ooh, what's going on? Knight h3 can't work though.
Yeah, because I just go king h1 and my knight is hanging out on h3.
It's hanging and you have to take back the queen.
Yeah,
so,
okay. I was too fancy.
Play knight g4 here. Check.
Yeah.
And that way white's not hanging. King h1 and then you take the queen.
And this looks very good for black.
Black now, actually, because after like rook a takes.
Yeah,
this is isolated, and black has all the pieces out.
Yeah, here at least I can take this and give you an isolated e pawn as well.
You're opening my files, and then these pieces are not working yet.
Yeah, okay, but here I'll play bishop somewhere. Well, actually, I don't know where I'll play bishop to be honest.
Here, honestly.
Oh, bishop g5. But, you know, black is better here. Black is clearly better.
Yeah.
I also want to show a cute tactic that I saw. After knight e4, if you go queen takes d5, I have...
knight takes c3 and knight takes c2, right?
Knight takes c3, and if you try and trade queens, I'll go knight e2 check.
In between move. This tactic actually just come up a lot in many openings, specifically the dragon from the black end, reverse color.
The Sicilian dragon, when the queen on a5, queen on d2, you go knight d5, knight takes e7.
Yep.
So this would be bad for white as well, to take with the queen, take the hanging pawn with the queen.
But I just take here, I guess.
Oh, okay, we traded pawns though. But now my knight's a little... I guess I take this bishop probably. This looks vaguely
white again.
equal. I go...
Oh, and I mean, these pieces are not working yet. I guess it's the...
I'll go bishop e6. Rook, and I'll be fine.
The bishop, maybe? My queen is handily defending.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
And maybe rook d1 or king g1 again. Maybe not king g1. King g1 seems slow, but rook d1 or something. Let's see what happened in the game, though. So b4, bishop b7, bishop b2. Bishop e6.
Mm-hmm.
c1, queen d7.
Okay, so black is preparing to eliminate the light square bishop.
There's interesting idea. You can't go here right away because I take, and after queen takes, then I can take here, I would think.
Let's put it on the board to see. Oh, it's not my move. Okay, I go king h1, our standard bad move. And
no,
I really don't have much here, do I? Can I pin it? No, because you take everything with check.
I can take something with check. Yeah, I was thinking taking the bishop with check, but maybe taking the knight is actually better.
They're both possible, but here, if I go takes.
They're both fine, I guess. Rook. I would assume that you gain time on my queen or something.
Yeah, I was gonna play the. I was just deciding whether to play the a rook or the f rook. Probably the a rook. I like the f rook on e8. I think.
I want both rooks. I want like 3 rooks because I have 3 open files.
Well, I like a rook on the e file to pressure e2, which sort of makes my decision that I'm gonna play the a rook here, I think.
Yeah, and white already has the c file, so maybe it's not a good idea to contest the c file anymore.
Yeah, because if I gave away a pawn, I don't want to trade rooks really.
You can't afford to contest the file, I would assume.
But here,
so queen b3 or something.
Mm-hmm. I see clearly not enough compensation for the pawn, in my opinion.
Maybe somebody would go queen e4 here, but I think queen e4 would be a mistake because of rook e8.
Then I can go... No, can't go queen h4.
Bishop. I don't like queen e4 here. I like queen c4, queen b3 maybe. I'm not sure.
I agree with
Okay,
that.
but let's see what happened in the game.
We did not see the move king h1.
Yeah, no. So queen d7...
Oh, we've had quite a few moves.
Now you can play bishop h3, but instead he took.
Mm-hmm.
Rook fd8.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so he's opted to put his rooks on the D and C files.
a6 and e4. So rook fd1, a6, and e4.
E4, you say?
Interesting.
So, let me put up this line. Knight d4. Knight takes d4 makes sense. You don't want to allow this knight to sit here blockading the IQP for all of eternity and forcing the queen to come here. The queen is a little bit less happy to be on d4.
But at the same time, though, you are activating one more of my pieces. So you're to that. You remove the blockader, which is a good thing, but you also activate my pieces. And I kind of like this for white. There's a bishop and queen. Which is...
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know if it's important, but at some point I would like a tactic like this to work, delivering mate on g7.
My idea was I kind of wanted to put my bishop on f6, but I'm having trouble making that happen.
Play something like knight h5 because you'll have to be covering this g7.
The problem is after knight h5, you do have 3 attackers on this, and the knight is one of the defenders. So easy for black. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I'm saying, maybe knight d4 was not the move, or knight takes d4 from black, because here you are really developing this queen for him, introducing another attacker. Maybe we can start with something like knight g4.
Well, I want to develop my rook.
You want to go rook?
I want to develop a rook. I mean, one of my principles that I teach all of my students is when you're in a position where it's sort of, you're not quite sure what to do, you should develop a piece that you haven't moved yet. And that can't be a bad move. So I would think about developing a rook to the center. I don't know which rook, and I don't know where, but that's something I would definitely be considering here with black, instead of taking on d4.
Absolutely. Here, I really like this rook on the E file. I'm very attracted to that rook on the E file. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I want to pressure e2.
Yeah, and rook on the e file makes a lot of sense. It's very, very natural. You put a rook on the half-open file, pressuring a pawn. There can't be really a more natural move than that. And if you always play natural moves, your moves are going to come so much easier, and you're a lot less likely to make huge mistakes.
Because here, after something like rook e8, maybe I have ideas of going bishop g4 and then takes, and I can snatch him. Oh, not quite. I have to get this bishop out somehow. I guess that is a problem with the rook on the e file. I have so many bishops in the way.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't make sense to do that yet. Maybe I should do this rook here, and then I'll decide where I want to put this rook.
You know, I just realized something about the position that I think made Felix want to grab the knight. If, say, I go rook here, Tony Rowe could grab this bishop.
And I would assume that you'd have to take with the pawn, maybe.
I would definitely take with the pawn. I think that's the only way to get any compensation for losing the bishops.
Yeah. That's very bad. And I don't want to go knight b4, knight d4, maybe.
I would even consider going e3 and bring the knight around that way.
Yeah, it's some maneuver like this, you know, would make a lot of sense here, and I don't see the problem at all for white. Taking with the pawn, this has its pluses also. Black gains another center pawn and opens the rook. However, this pawn is, and you know, maybe these pieces don't make a lot of sense here now because the file's not open and there's no longer the isolated pawn that needs protection there.
I could attempt to like slam d4 down.
Yeah, and that's a valid point. That's definitely a valid point.
But so I think that's part of the reason why Felix chose to take on d4 is he really valued his bishop on e6, I think.
Yeah, no, and that makes a lot of sense.
So
that makes a lot.
We saw takes. Felix preserves this bishop for now. He does really want to be able to contest this bishop at some point. It's going to be a strong piece when this opens up. However,
also,
yeah.
not even. It doesn't even have to be activate, or it doesn't even have to work right now. It's already doing something. It's putting pressure here, and that's one of the best things that you can have in chess is pressure. You don't even have to like take material. Just having the pressure is sometimes stronger than actually taking it. So I like this for white. There's a lot of pressure. It's very easy to play with white, and black is the one that has to come up with the ideas.
And part of the reason why this fianchetto is very, very common against black's Tarrasch, I know black didn't play a Tarrasch, but we reached a Tarrasch by transposition, is that the bishop on g2 is very good against the IQP, the isolated queen pawn.
This is really good for against isolated queen pawn positions. You want all of your pieces to be aimed at the d4 square and the d5 square in this case, because you want to control the square where the pawn wants to push to, and then you want to attack the pawn. So this bishop is one of the pieces that will attack the pawn. A lot of the times also in the Tarrasch, you'll play bishop e3 and put the bishop here and blockade with the bishop, and then the bishop is eyeing the a pawn and the king side. And that's the normal plan that I play. I've also played this bishop b2 idea with similar ideas as what we have in the game. And they're both valid plans. There's other plans too.
Yeah, so here, I actually wasn't a huge fan of this move, rook ft8 from Felix. And that's because it feels like black is groveling a little bit. Black is just resigning himself to defend the IQP. And I think it's really important. The IQP is always a trade-off because you're structurally worst, but you're supposed to make up for this worst structure with active pieces. And
like if you can get counterplay against d2 or something, you can even just sacrifice d5. Even just sacrificing d5, not for a pawn, but just to get open lines. But here it doesn't. Here it seems really hard to get in a sacrifice that's worth it, anyways.
Yeah, so that's why I don't like this move, because it just feels like we're sort of letting white dictate the flow of the game. White's going to keep building up pressure. He has very natural moves, and here I am just sitting here guarding my pawn. If we want to guard the pawn, I would have preferred to see this rook, and then this rook can come and pressure the e2 pawn. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I want to put pressure.
Yeah, that seems very natural. We have some more moves.
Yeah, let's catch up. I think this, because first off, I don't understand this move a6. I guess we're preventing knight b5, but the knight couldn't go there anyway. So I don't really get the point of this move a6. I'm going to be honest.
A6, he wants to move his rook, but he can't because the queen is attacking a7. That's what I would assume.
Is that such a big problem? Like, say I go here, my idea is to play d4.
A pawn, I would take it.
Yeah, but here I'm starting to break.
I don't know, if you want to trade all the pieces, I'll be happy with that, and I'll be a pawn up. Because I want to trade the rooks, I want to trade the knights, I want to trade minor pieces. I don't mind being a pawn up.
Yeah, this got really sharp. Give me a second. Here, I don't have that move. I want to do something with this, trying to undermine the knight, but you take with check. Can I do something similar? Can I go takes, and then try and undermine your light squares? I don't think I have enough here. I'm sort of.
Well, also I can try and trade queens with queen takes b7.
You also have this.
Rooks first.
Yeah, you just go takes and takes probably.
It's because of rook takes c1. Check.
Yeah, so we throw this in.
Maybe not. Takes, and then I'll take here.
Well, I was going to take here, but that works too.
Because I want to trade the queens, and I want to grab another pawn.
Yeah.
And if anything, I can just retreat my bishop.
So this is totally losing. Okay, a6 makes sense, I guess. It feels like a sad move to play.
Kind of slow though. But e4 also seems really strange because you're trading off the point that you wanted to attack.
I understand this move though. What I think Tony's going after b7.
Okay.
What he's trying to do is he's trying to extend this bishop and sort of punish this rook. Because if we look after all the trades here, I'll play knight takes here, and if you trade here, I'm going to hit this pawn. It's going to be unprotected, and you can't move the b pawn. You won't be able to move the b pawn because it'll be pinned to the rook. So you might have to grovel a bit with like rook b8.
Seems very passive.
Well, I think it might be forced. Let's see what happened in the game, because I expect something like this did happen in the game. We saw takes, queen takes
d7, rook takes d7, rook takes d7, bishop takes d7,
knight takes
knight
d4,
and then rook c8 immediately.
Yeah. So what I was showing was if black takes here, takes, I'm hitting this pawn and it's pinned. You can't go bishop c6 because the rook guard's there. So you'd have to play rook b8.
And then rook c7 and
wins a bishop, actually.
Well, it doesn't win a bishop because you have rook d8, but you're gonna lose your pawns. You're gonna lose this pawn and this pawn, I'm sure.
Yeah. So that would
that's lost.
That would be disastrous.
You can't. Or that's. So he played rook c8.
But now I'll take this and ruin your structure.
I'm a little bit confused here. Why this? Because it's very good for what?
You're dropping out a little bit. What was that?
Oh, I think this is very good for white. I'm not exactly sure why black went for this voluntarily. Maybe he didn't have a choice.
I don't think he had a choice. I think after e4, this is fairly forced. You sort of have to take the trades.
I underestimated.
It just makes a lot of sense. It's using the power of this bishop. This bishop is incredibly, and the pressure against b7 that's unleashed. Because here, this trade is forced. If you don't play rook takes, he can take with another piece. He can keep this rook on the board.
Take with the bishop, I guess, maybe.
I might take with the knight.
Well, I don't want to take with the knight because then this pawn.
Well, that's an extra pawn though.
Okay, and you just want to give it back? I want to keep it for as long as I can.
I can't keep it. There's always going to be two pieces on it.
Never mind. I guess I do have to give it back. Maybe I'll have to settle for worse though.
The reason I said take with the knight is we see that in the game position there's a threat of ruining the structure on f6. So yeah, when I move the knight, I remove the threat against. But here, I have this move.
Bishop takes e4, threatening the pawn, and
you gotta go rook b8. It's brutal.
Yeah, and this is bad for black again, I'm sure. Like,
I'll go
like if I, like somewhere under this diagonal.
Yeah.
Make the rook move away, I'd win all your pawns and maybe win an exchange.
And here, the thing is, your knight is so poorly placed here.
Doesn't work at all there.
So knight takes d7, not a good idea. If you go bishop takes d7, I'll go knight takes here. I'm threatening to ruin your structure.
You trade, and then we're in the same position as we were before, basically.
Just with extra rooks. Well, does that make a difference? Now can I do this one? No, because I'll take here.
On c6.
Well, here.
But you got rook d2.
Yeah, that was sort of my point. I have this move.
I'm also getting a6, so if I move the bishop away somewhere like
bishop c1, I think, with tempo.
Yeah, with tempo, rook a2 maybe.
I have this pawn.
Yeah, it's covered.
So I would give the check. At least force your rook to stick to your bishop.
Okay.
So you can't take a6 immediately.
And what are you gonna do?
I don't know. Cry. Resign.
I don't think it's so easy for black to defend this either. I mean, this is...
Black's a pawn down. He's gonna lose.
Rook's active, so next I'll just move my bishop, and then I'll take here.
Yeah. And the problem is, when I take here, I'll actually protect my only weak pawn.
Maybe... that doesn't really even work. I was thinking the best resistance was to try and get counterplay somehow, like... way to, like, activate this bishop. Because, like, if I could get to c5 or something with the bishop, and I want to maybe attack f2 somehow, I don't... but...
Yeah, I think once my bishop gets here, I'm super solid. My rook will take here and defend this pawn, and I have 2 connected passed pawns, and that should be game over.
It's bad, very bad.
So this.
Okay, so let's see.
This was not happening in the game. He played rook takes, bishop takes, and here, that's why e4 was so strong. You can't take this, but if you don't take this, I'm gonna take here, ruin your structure. And after rook c8, I think that's what happened. We saw knight f6, bishop f6, rook c8, bishop c8, bishop f6, gf6. And I'm not sure if this is winning, but it's definitely pleasant.
Yeah, white's the only one that chances here. I would definitely take white. This bishop is bad here. This bishop is good.
Yeah.
So this bishop, I'll give it red, and I'll give this one green. Pressure.
I mean, here...
this bishop is stuck on, and then your structure is bad. So white has basically 2 advantages here. However, converting this isn't so easy.
I think as black, my next move, no matter what, will be b6. It doesn't matter what you play. I'm going to play b6 next move.
You have to play b6.
And I think Tony even mentioned that in chat. Tony was thinking about playing a4 here, but then black plays b6.
And this isn't so easy. I mean, it's not so easy for black either because of the ruined structure, but...
yeah, but it's not clear how you're winning those pawns, really. If my king just stays on g7, I guess then your king would run over to the queen side.
But if you do get your king in here, maybe what I can do is I can fix these pawns somehow. Like if I could...
That's what Tony played. He played f4.
f4 makes a lot of sense to me because if I can maybe get an f5 eventually with the help of my king or something, do 2 jobs. I can either go win the kingside pawns if your king runs too far away, or I can win the queenside pawns if your king has to stay on the kingside. And if these pawns get fixed, then I would assume that black's in some trouble. Also, bishop e4 and then f5 makes sense.
The thing is, I'm loath to put a pawn on white.
Yeah, no, but at the same time, you're restricting the black bishop. So I mean, it has its trade-off. It makes it easier for black to attack it, but if black can't actually attack it, do it. Let's pretend that I get in these moves, though. Let's pretend that black does nothing, and nothing again. If I get in this, it's my turn here. I mean, this has to be...
Now I run my king.
And now white's plan is very easy. White just runs a king in.
Yeah.
And if you ever attack this pawn, then I go bishop.
Or just h3, no?
I was thinking maybe black could try this move, and then h3.
And then takes, and this you can't crack down this pawn, because my bishop on f3 will be a great defender.
By that time, I will have already won this pawn.
We were generous with our tempi, though.
Very generous. This is not what black will do.
So after f4, I predicted the move. What's the move? Black only has 1 move. b6.
Wow.
No matter what, b6. And if you let me, I'll play a5.
Yeah, and if what black wants to do here is trade off all the pawns, because if it's bishop versus bishop, then it's a draw.
Yep. And I think even if it's just these three versus these three, it's probably still a draw. If I can trade everything over here, I'd be very happy.
King f2 and bishop e4 both make a lot of sense for what I was trying to do.
I would probably play king f2. That would be my first priority. Yeah, the kings are running it. We saw king f2, king f8, king e3, king e7. They're gonna meet in opposition here, and black is sort of holding the line here.
I was wondering if black could try something like bringing the bishop here with the king on e6 if this position is breakable. Let's say here. Let's give black a tempi.
Well, I wonder why does your bishop need to be here?
It's just completely cut off this from any white pieces coming in. That way, just leave my king here.
Is this an issue? I guess I just play a5.
You play a5 and then...
But then the king can maybe try and track him down? I'm not sure.
Maybe I don't do that yet. Maybe I play a5 first.
I also think if you put your bishop here, maybe I will play bishop e4 on f5 and give you a little boot.
That makes sense too. And you would never want to play f5 yourself because then my bishop is basically free to do whatever it wants.
Yeah, I can't fathom playing f5 as black here.
Either.
Maybe
I guess white takes it probably. That way I
throw this in first.
Okay.
Just be annoying.
Yeah. Bishop d7 or bishop c8.
Yeah, here's my question.
Probably bishop.
After say takes, if I go bishop c8 d7 c8 d7 c8 d7, how are you winning?
That's a good question, but what happens if I just...
Well, if your king goes here, my king will land on e5, and I'll take f5.
Well, an H passer, but you might be closer because of this.
Sorry, what's your plan?
Well, I was thinking that I could just do this, but you are...
How are you winning h6?
In this pawn, but I win h6.
Well, if you go here, I go here. I'm going to take this next move.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. And I have to play g4, and then...
And then your king's cut out from the queen side. I guess you can still sneak
king
in.
Side.
Or king side, yeah. Whatever side it is.
Yeah, whatever side that's called.
Your king still sneaks in there. That's not so clear, because your king has this route.
Kind of awfully long.
Maybe I play h5.
This isn't so clear, though.
I don't think you can take that. If you want to win, at least.
No, because if I play h3, I'm never winning, because you'll take.
Yeah, but if you take on h5, I don't think you're winning either.
Yeah, I don't think so. Well...
Because let's show it.
I'll take it. No, maybe this king and pawn... Maybe if I do trade bishops here, it is winning, actually.
I don't think so at all. You think this is winning? Oh, you have h4.
Yeah, h4, and your king can't come this way because of this runs, and exhaust tempos, and then I just go here with opposition.
That's a nasty little move there, h4. That's a really nasty move. Do I have time to get around? I don't have time to get around even. Ouch. Okay. That's a cool little find there. H4. Ouch.
H4 is not easy to see though. I mean, from here, maybe. Well, maybe it is easy. Not here, but
you have to take first. Yeah.
H4. H4 is interesting. H4 is neat. I like H4, but
yeah.
I mean,
it means H5 isn't playable.
Yeah. So I would assume though that you have to wait here, maybe.
Well, if you just wait, I have a very clear plan.
Yeah, but in that time, I want to go take this thing, maybe. Quick enough, but
is that what we're gonna do?
Plan, I guess.
It is a plan. Okay, I'll go bishop c8.
F3.
Do I break immediately? I can be. Oh, this move's annoying because you actually have to move your bishop before you can go king g3.
Yeah, and also wherever you move your bishop here, I will eventually attack it again with tempo.
Yeah.
So let's say bishop b1.
Mm-hmm.
3, king g3.
I'm really fast. I'm super fast. You haven't even taken this. Your pawn's on h2. I'm winning this race by a mile.
Well,
are you going to trade your bishop for it?
This has to be winning for black, or at least very close to winning for black. If it was a draw, it's like a table-based draw where there's one way to do it. No human will be able to do it.
Well, I think if you give your bishop for the a pawn, it's not so clear because it's very.
What if I bring my bishop back and make you waste time with this? But no, that doesn't even work.
Because yeah, I'll play bishop d7. But
then bishop d7 is too quick. I've maybe.
Sorry, say again.
Like instead of king f3, bishop d3.
Uh-huh.
And then let's say you have the same sort of idea.
Mm-hmm.
Bishop b5. That way your bishop can't attack it from d7, and it will have to go around the long way to attack the pawn. And then I'll play a4 when convenient.
But how about
so you attack it?
How about if you go bishop d3? Where's that variation? On bishop d3, I can start with this move. Because my point is, I'll save time going to d4 with my king.
That's annoying. But what if I attack this thing?
I don't care. I don't think.
Know. I don't know.
I don't know if that pawn's important.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think this is probably a draw.
Like, I'll just wait. You can have f7. As soon as your
I'll take it.
As soon as your king moves, I'm breaking.
Okay. So now I'll go here.
Okay.
I'm at least a pawn up.
You're a pawn up. I don't see what you're doing with it.
But is there anything better? I don't think so.
I'm not sure there is either. I think the position is drawn.
It's probably. I mean, if white has a winning idea, I don't see it.
I don't see it either. I think this is drawn. Let's check in on our other game that looked like it was like approaching checkmate on move.
It was quite over. Let's see what happened.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
It's
over. White resigned. But the game went quite a bit longer. I think he had your plan with rook f7 or rook. He played rook f6 in the game.
Yeah, he played gf5. I like that. I like that capture.
So, where did we leave off at?
So move 17, we played king g1. We were debating how to capture this pawn on f5. Let me change the screen really quick. There we go. And he played gf5. I really like this idea, bringing the rook onto the g file to give mate.
Very simple idea.
Black tried bishop f4. He needs to keep the bishop out from here and like h2 mating ideas.
Bishop f4 was a move that I suggested, I think. Was it here? It might have been.
No, you wanted to play bishop f3, but then we gave mate on h2.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Suggested bishop f3. So he played bishop f4, stopping that threat
And
on f2.
maybe now he can play bishop f3. He also is attacking the bishop here.
Okay, so bishop f4 makes quite a bit of sense.
And also, if you check me on the g file, I can play bishop g3 and not get mated.
Or even just, I'll be in time with bishop g2, I think. But let's see what happened in the game. Bishop f4,
c5. I have to protect this bishop. What happened?
Bishop.
Next?
He did play bishop f3.
Mm-hmm.
Rook f6.
All makes sense. Bishop h2. Oh.
What? Bishop h2 doesn't. No. Now I just try and make you on this here, right?
If you go here, I have bishop g3.
Okay. Pin.
Yes, I will fall for the same tactic twice. Well, okay. No. If you go rook h6, I'll go bishop f4.
Okay.
But then check and f4. Let's look at that.
Oh.
Check f4. You lose.
This is over.
Do you have time for this? Maybe.
I take on g3 again.
Yeah.
Do you want to fall for it again?
You had that here too. You can just take here. What am I doing? This is mate. No, it's mate in 1. Don't take with the rook.
Oh, take with the rook?
Yeah, it's mate. Or mate in 2. There you go.
Take here, mate, also.
Great.
Yeah, no, but if you just want to keep falling for this, I'll take it.
So I don't understand. Bishop h2. What's my idea?
Bishop h2 seems like just he already knows he's losing. And
I know his idea. He wants to play king h1, rook g1.
So rook h6, but you can't play king h1 after rook h6.
Well, okay. So if we play rook h6,
here.
I'm baffled.
It's like just losing a tempo.
Do I do something with this check?
What?
I have a check. Does it matter?
See how it matters, but I just move my king, maybe? I don't know. King g7. King h8.
Yeah.
King h8 looks fine. And then what are you gonna do?
I don't know. Cry, resign, all 3.
Yeah.
I don't... Okay. What happened after bishop h2? We gave the check first. Maybe that's more accurate. We went check.
Well, I don't see what to do after the other, but...
Well, what happened here?
King h1... oh, bishop h2, rook g6 check, king h1.
Rook h6 now? Do I win?
5.
What?
He played king h1, e5.
Okay, that seems also reasonable.
Small threat.
Or rook h6 would have been similar. How did this game go on so long?
I have no idea. So bishop d5 check. Okay, he checked them. Good job.
Oh, I have f4.
So that's why you shouldn't check me probably and move me to the h file. Because before I didn't have f4 because the bishop was pinning the pawn.
Well, it's also why instead of playing bishop e5, I can just go rook h6, in which case f4 doesn't do anything against rook h6.
F4 can't. Well, f4 is kind of illegal.
Well, but I'm saying after check, f4 doesn't matter. I'm still mating you.
It's still just mate, yeah.
So, okay, some inaccurate tactics here from the black player, but I think it's all going to work out. I have a feeling.
Because still this is over. King, just too bad. It's way way too bad.
We gave
So
check.
I would assume f4.
Yeah.
King f4. Bishop d4. Back.
Oh, do we have it? Okay, let me promote this. Yeah, bishop d4. Knight b5.
The wrong line. Bishop e5. Bishop d5. King h8. Here. F4 now. Now
Okay.
bishop d4.
Good. Yeah, so bishop d4, knight b5. He's trying to take this bishop off the board. Now I assume we have, well, rook h6 loses some sting now, because I can actually defend laterally.
Yeah, and I want to get this rook over here.
And that, the black player agreed.
So bishop e6, bishop takes b7. What?
It's a fork.
Why are you? I don't.
Jessica, we're gonna win material. What could possibly go wrong?
Rook. My move.
We're winning material. Look, what could go wrong?
You want to take that knight?
Yeah, you got rook g2 probably.
Mate.
Oh, you also have that mate. That's fair. I was gonna go rook g2 and mate you on h2.
Rook g2 also works, so I don't think there's defense after rook g2 either.
So we didn't take the knight. We took this and got.
So.
Oh, and black was fancy. Black could.
Mate and the point takes.
Yeah.
Takes.
And that's mate.
There's one legal move and then takes.
Boom. Nice game from black. Let's go back. Look at the critical moments of this game. I think
variation.
The critical moments. Oh, I keep scrolling. Why am I scrolling? Critical moments came quite early.
Yeah. So here we were thinking c5 if he wanted to try and punish this e4 move, giving up d4 square, but instead he went for the King's Indian. I would assume that's why he played d6 because he wanted a King's Indian castles. This is all mainline stuff. So here the main move is castles, which he played. Knight a6.
Is that a normal move?
Move here. Castles is the main move here. It's the way that I play in this is after knight c6 d5, and then you play b4 here for the bayonet attack, and this is.
Sorry, I know castles is a normal move. I was saying is knight a6 a normal move for black?
I don't think I've ever seen knight a6.
It felt a little wrong.
I would assume he wants knight c5 eventually. However, here there is this idea of this, and then you already have. But here, this is very important that you don't play a5 this early, because white hasn't committed to d5 yet.
And what's the difference? I don't actually know this.
You do get your knight to c5, but with my pawn here, you're not getting your knight to c5.
But can't I always just take here?
Yeah, but white plays bishop e3, and then I can take your knight at least.
Yeah, but I've always considered that's not great for white if I take the knight on c5 with my dark square bishop.
No, it's not great, but let's say that I play the bishop e3 and you play knight a6. Here I take on e5 first.
Oh, because then your knight won't be supported.
You can't get...
Fair.
Maybe that's the point. I do know this is a line, though. I haven't looked at this in forever, though.
So after a5, I think it's actually more accurate probably to take immediately, no?
Okay, so you take and I take and play bishop e3. Yeah, but I mean, you haven't moved your knight to the side yet.
Yeah, but I think if you play bishop e3 here, I'll go takes. Before I play knight a6.
That makes sense. That's interesting. I'm not sure.
Some move order trickery going on. I don't know exactly what's happening. I don't know any of this because I I don't play this system as white.
It's fine. After knight d7, I actually did play this for a little while with black, this knight d7 move, and the idea is a5 and knight c5.
If he ever plays d5.
So here you play a5 and then knight c5.
Yeah, that's
actually
normal.
Actually here you can play knight c5 right away because you're attacking this pawn twice.
Yeah, and I would play probably like knight d2.
Yeah, knight d2, a5, F3. And then f3. Yeah, and white has a game. It's a game.
Yeah, but here it is sort of a slow game, so I will have time for b3, a3, b4 probably.
I agree.
And black will try and arrange f5, which is all playable.
Instead, bishop e3 was played. Knight g4 attacking the bishop. Bishop attacks the queen, gaining a tempo, and committing or forcing black sort of to play f6. And now the bishop just...
Is that forced? What happens if I go... excuse me. After bishop d5, what happens if I go queen e8?
You can play this. It's I guess a variation. It's a move.
I suppose now I have knight discoveries, if I want. Although they don't accomplish much. The only useful discovery is not working. So that would not quite work. Okay, yeah, I don't have to play f6.
I guess...
Sorry, say again?
The point of bishop g5, though, is to provoke f6.
Yeah, I just didn't want to play it. So I was going to try and play queen e8.
Okay.
But,
yeah, queen e8 is fine.
But f6, okay. Sure.
Just played, bishop d2, takes. Bishop go to h4. I thought this was the main move here. And then the idea is after 5 you play bishop g3. And then this is kind of weird.
Do I have to play g5?
I don't have to, but that's the point of bishop h4 is to provoke g5.
Yeah, but you keep saying the point of this move is to make this move that's not forced. Like, I'm not forced to play this.
But I mean, it's to provoke it. You don't have to make it by any means. You don't have to make it. It's not forced at all.
Like, my point is, I don't think your bishop. I think your bishop is about as useless as my bishop.
But I mean, is it better on d2 or h4?
My argument would be d2. I actually like it quite a bit on d2.
Yeah. Okay.
After h4, I would play like queen e8 and f5 or something, or takes f5, and I beat pleasantly.
Maybe now your bishop is actually gonna come to life here, and mine is not looking at anything.
That was sort of my point. That's why I questioned this move, bishop h4. Even if it goes to g3, I have a nice pawn chain here to stop it.
Yeah, and it's dull. And it would only work if I played c5, but thankfully your knights help cover c5.
My terrible knight on a6 has a purpose.
Your terrible knight is actually doing something. Okay, well, let's see what happened in the game. Bishop d2 takes, knight takes, f5.
I wasn't sure about this position, but maybe it's a real thing.
We were wondering f5 or knight h6. Because we didn't like what we seen after knight h6, though.
Because I wanted to play queen c1 and sort of bother him again.
This is awfully slow.
Yeah,
but I mean, I can get to this square eventually, but f4 maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I can play f4. I can even just, play some normal move and then play b3. Although, again, b3 does invite f5, opening the bishop. It's all something. But here, after f5, we were a big fan of this move, knight c2.
d2 a lot. It keeps all the pieces on the board. I mean, you're going to go to e3 and d5 eventually. You'll play f3 and, make the knight move again.
So yeah, I like this move a lot. But after ef5, black found this knight move. It's a desperado. We're going to trade knights, so we might as well sell our knight for a pawn, if we can. And white has no useful desperado for his knight, which means that my desperado is successful. You sort of have to take me.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that you have to take the knight now.
Yeah, I tried to make my own desperado work, but it just didn't. So we took.
Okay. Queen h4, king g1, bishop takes.
And here the losing move, g3.
Yeah, g3. There's this pin. Game's over, basically.
Your king is too open after this move. You're just losing. It's a sad move to miss, because after you miss this move, you know that the game is just over. 100% over.
Yeah.
So let's find a better move for white in this position.
We're looking at queen c1 here again.
Were we?
The idea. Well, I was. I don't know if I showed it, but oh no, because this pawn is hanging. We were trying to figure out something.
Unfortunately, I don't think you can save that pawn. You can't take.
Of f2. So maybe this position already is just bad for...
Well, actually, this is interesting. Oh no, you're going to take with the queen. I was going to say, because my point was, if you take with the rook, I actually can throw this in, and maybe your king is
Oh no,
sad.
I was thinking rook takes immediately here.
Well, here, I would throw this in, was sort of my idea.
So I'll take it.
You'll take it?
Or I could even play king h8 here.
Yeah, I think king h8 is a wiser move.
Because this is a real threat.
Yeah, but I want to make something like this work. Or even, how about this one? No, you have too many discoveries. Just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah,
Sorry,
that's disaster.
Here?
No, that's
mate. Queen f2 mate.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, not bishop g5. Instead, I want to make this work. I want to get a check on this diagonal somehow, but I'm not quite making it work. Because I don't have this check that I want.
I guess I'll take it.
Yeah, you will take it, and you'll be fine. So this whole sacrifice of mine is totally ridiculous, not working at all.
Like I think this is rook takes is just winning.
I agree. I think.
And then queen g3, queen g2 is the threat. So like also I have this threat of mate here on f2 and probably h1.
What if I take this? Are you mating me? You might be.
Bishop.
Yeah, I was gonna go king h2, but that doesn't help. Okay, yep, you're mating me. Fair enough. So, yeah, that would be winning. So we're not gonna take the pawn. But then we're gonna lose the pawn. So I need to stir...
Yeah, and I don't want to lose the pawn. But...
I need to stir something up. I was looking at this move.
Ah,
that's an idea. I'm preventing rook takes. No, I'm not. Your queen has that square.
Again.
And your knight is useful.
Barely.
Barely. Here after rook takes, I'm in trouble. So knight d5, not a good move.
What about knight e3 here? Just do something, I guess. Maybe this works. I don't know. Well, maybe not.
Yeah, there's discoveries there.
I don't know if it works. I don't know. I would still take black here.
Yeah, absolutely. Black has massive activity. What? Oh no, I don't have that one. I wanted to go here, but of course I'm hanging stuff again. Knight e3 is interesting, but I could potentially even just go rook f8 and say, okay, pawn.
Yeah, and black's up a pawn. When you're up a pawn, though, that's kind of important. You don't have to try and mate somebody. You're up a pawn, so you can just win.
Yeah, but if I can mate, that's also nice.
So somebody in the chat said, what about white plays bishop g4? Where at?
Hey, probably in this position, trying to hold the pawn.
Oh, bishop g4, you're attacking this. And you're attacking, okay.
Oh, I tried to make this work earlier, but it was... I tried to make this work earlier, but I couldn't. But here, I'll just take, and I'll still win a pawn.
But here, at least I get my pieces out.
That's true. This is a better version of what we've been looking at. Maybe here I'll actually go with bishop takes, just developing him.
Also, I have this fork.
You do. I would be scared to play that, to be honest.
And also because you have like moves like bishop h3 threatening mate.
And if you go bishop f3, I'll take.
But also,
how do you protect against bishop h3 if you check me here and take? Oh no, you're on the diagonal. You're not. This doesn't. If you say I go. Okay.
What happens after king h1? Queen takes.
You're on this diagonal. You're protecting the g2 square.
I have to play knight c5 here, and white gets a pawn back.
That's true. I still like black here. I think.
Yeah, black has comp for the pawn, but
where's your queen going? I think your
white's
queen.
at least.
Your queen would probably like to stay attached to this pawn. I think.
Like queen takes c7, this is awfully greedy, and I would assume something like bishop h3 has to be.
This is winning.
Maybe not queen c6 again. What about bishop e4? No, because the knight takes. There's just knight takes.
Yeah, even this is not so clear. But yeah, bishop h3, queen c6. Can I push you off? No, you always have this square, which is annoying.
Yeah. I was trying to go for some brilliancy prize, like rook f3, but nothing works because you can take with the bishop.
Rook f3, can't I just take with the queen?
Take with the queen or the bishop. But I was trying to see if there was some way at all that I could block the diagonal, but it doesn't work. And even moves like this, I want to think about because
that's interesting.
But you have to take with the queen, but you're up a piece, so it doesn't do anything. But those are the kind of moves to look for because the idea is to deliver mate on g2. So you want to look for moves that shut down the diagonal or get the queen off of the diagonal.
Is this something?
Yeah, that might be something, but I just take it, I guess.
Yeah.
And you kind of a8 now.
Oh yeah, I'm blundering. Bummer. Okay, let me try something else then. I have an idea. Let me do this one. I'm gonna force you off this diagonal.
Ah, we might have found something.
You got nothing. You have a check.
What happens if king g8?
Only move.
Bishop f3 now, maybe?
I take it.
Tactic. No, but then I play queen d5 check again.
Okay, I have rook f7. I'm up a piece. No, I take the queen. I just take the queen. I'm up a piece. Oh, yeah, I have a lot of stuff hanging. Okay.
Confusing. I want to go back. That's confusing.
I think I should take that bishop.
Best that you could take with the rook, and then I seen queen d5, forking everything.
Yeah, but
that's a mess.
So annoying. I mean, at the very least, I have takes bishop g2, and I got my pawn back.
I would assume
I'm hanging a fork.
Then I attack the rook, so.
But I can go. No, that's okay. That's okay.
Because I can take here.
Yeah, but here I'll take this, and it'll still be even material.
I'm forking here. Yeah, but no, this is better than what was played in the game.
This is a disaster. But not all of this was forced. Let's go back to bishop g5 here.
Yeah.
I think you do have to take that bishop.
Be cute and play queen g3.
Can't I just go king h1? Then you have bishop f2. I think bishop f2 is forced. Hold on, queen g3. No. Queen g3, I'll take your bishop.
Oh, okay. It takes.
Yeah, but now you have a tempo down on the other continuation.
Yeah. Okay. So
let's
bishop
take this.
g5
takes. I played bishop takes f5. We can play rook f5 as well.
I like rook f5 also.
Yeah, because I don't allow you to check here, which gave you the pawn. Now I really am a pawn up.
Your bishop anymore on this nice diagonal?
Yeah, I don't.
You don't have your bishop at least on this diagonal.
Yeah, but I got a pawn. I can't be sad.
Yeah.
Black is better here. I think black is undeniably better.
I'd take black.
I don't see your compensation for my pawn.
Not now because I don't have the check. Before I did have this check, which
yeah,
is
but
very...
now I'm being sensible and not letting you win your material back.
Yeah.
We have a question in chat. After black takes on f5, play bishop g4 or bishop g5. So what lines were we looking at? We were looking at
after black takes the f5 pawn.
Well, we have to make a move for white is the problem.
Yeah, we don't see the move for white though because black.
Okay,
yeah.
Say we go knight d5. What were we playing? Rook f5. Now if you go bishop g5, okay, I'll take it. I don't know if I want to take with the rook. Oh yeah, I also have a lot of stuff on f2. Yeah, bishop that's disaster.
You have to take it.
Yeah,
queen f2.
Utter disaster. And I win this on the end of it as well. So yeah, I don't see how this move is accomplishing anything because
it's a throw game.
Oh yeah, we should go back to that game. It was looking drawish when we left it.
We better go back to where we left it. Where did we leave it off at? We left it off after f4, b6.
We had just run the kings to the middle.
Yeah, barely.
This is the game position we were looking at. King e3, yeah. King e7.
27 bishop d5.
27
bishop d5 was played. Yeah. Bishop e6.
Interesting.
King d4.
I'm not sure I would have allowed the king and pawn, to be honest.
I don't know if I would have allowed that either, because the white king is quite advanced and your pawns are horrible. So
well, here I'll just go king d6, I assume, right?
After takes, you take with the pawn,
and that is maybe a draw. We'd have to look.
There should be a draw, quite close to the queen side, at least this king is.
And I have the opposition. I think was king d6 played? I assume it must have been.
King d6 was played. Bishop takes e6.
Mm-hmm. And we have a king and
f takes.
Here, my gut reaction is to go g4.
It's your because you have to. You don't want to allow black to at least get this move in or something.
Yeah.
You want to limit black's options.
Was g4 played?
King d7.
g4 was played.
d7.
Yeah, this is a good move. King e7.
h4. King e7.
Oh, sorry, king d7? Excuse me, I put the wrong move in.
Okay. Yeah, h4, king e7.
So we're triangulating. a4. Hey, it's a hedgehog, right? How is this not losing after A5?
Is A5 B takes, or B6, and then I just walk my king in and then push this thing.
I think the issue is, yeah, E5.
Maybe create a passer in time.
Something like...
Maybe this looks really weird. I want to allow this. What are you going to play?
That's confusing. Okay, well, let's just look at the game continuation for now. King F7, G5, King G6. I like that move. I think it's a good move.
G5, King G6?
Yeah, King G6, I think it's a good move.
Or King G7, and we're to the game.
King G7? King G7. This is a mess. Okay.
Hey, my game's going to be starting soon, so I better get going.
Gotcha.
I will post my link to my stream, because I'll be streaming my game on my YouTube channel, and I'll post that in the Twitch chat here.
Perfect.
Can watch that if they want to. Let me get it. I'll just post the link to my channel, because I didn't create a link earlier, but...
Yeah, feel free to post that in chat. So we have a crazy king and pawn here. I'm not... I saw in chat this is a draw. I'm not so sure. White is definitely better. This is very unclear.
Yeah, no, this is confusing. King and pawn endgames are not my specialty.
I'm wondering what happens on the move F5.
I would lose the color 9 out of 10 times. This is now very confusing. Because I would assume you can't take on F5.
I don't think you can take on F5. I think E5 loses, but I'm not sure about taking twice on G5. I sort of gave you an... you're going to lose this. Because now you're in Zugzwang.
And takes here.
Yeah, I'm going to run. My pawn will queen.
Quick there. So I guess this is the threat. So you have to solve this threat.
No, you have to take twice on G5, I'm pretty sure. Well, that recapture is not forced, is the thing. Like here, after HG5, I can consider chucking him. I don't know what's happening. But then you take here. That's probably too much. I probably gave you too much if I let you take there. So, okay, the recapture is forced.
I guess you take it.
I think you should take on G5. Yeah, because... or sorry, in this position, you have the outside pass pawn. You should be winning.
Outside pawn is winning like 9 out of 10 times. But here I think it's definitely close enough. Because if you play G4, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, here, I've made a mistake as white. F5 allowed you an outside pass pawn, which lost. So it's a cool idea, but not correct here. I'm wondering if I can try H5.
The same thing, right?
Well, but now my pawn's on the H file, is my point.
Yeah, but my king is very close.
Yeah, you're too quick. So I'm just throwing away my material for no reason. A classic quirk.
If I mean,
here I go King G6. Is the problem.
White always has those ideas breaking down the dark squares. A5 ideas, he says.
But the problem is I'm so quick. If you play this here, you're sort of obliged to come back. Otherwise, I will run. Like, say you go here, I'm going to start running my stuff over here.
This is quite close, though, isn't it?
I think it's going to be a draw, I want to say.
A draw also, but I don't ask me. I can't figure these out.
This is unclear, actually. That's a pawn.
White has the extra pawn, but black should just be able to give perpetual here or something. I mean,
I'm not sure. I think this. I know that queen and rook pawn is theoretical draw. But queen
I'm not sure.
Queen and this pawn might not be. I'm not sure there's a perpetual.
I would wager on that there is a perpetual here, because I mean, I don't know what. Okay, so I'll play queen here. I'll play queen e2.
Yeah, give me a second. Yeah, this seems reasonable. Mm-hmm.
I will probably just keep checking you forever.
Yeah, my queen's so poorly situated to block a check. I really just want to block a check, but I'm struggling to make that happen. That would lose the queen. I'm also finding many ways to lose the queen and lose my pawn. Anything on the A file loses the queen, unfortunately.
What was this, like the searching for Bobby Fischer movie puzzle? Something like that?
Well, that's when the H pawn, when the opposite rook pawn's queen, and this pawn stops this guy queening. But it's a similar idea of the queen skewering along the long diagonal when a rook pawn promotes. Yeah, you're right, this is probably a perpetual. I underestimated how terrible this queen is at blocking any checks.
Yeah, but even if your queen is out there, it would be the queen has a lot of checks. The queen is always probably going to have two checks, like here and here. So these are two checking squares at least.
Here I would,
if this square was available.
Here I would take the pawn. That's the other thing. If you get away from the pawn, I just take it.
Is always a draw unless you can win the queen by force.
Queen and pawn is always a draw unless you can win the queen by force?
Yeah.
I disagree. I think if this queen were centralized.
Yeah, but if that would be like winning the queen, right?
No, but I'm saying like if the white queen is somewhere else other than A8, I think it would not be drawn.
Okay, so let's imagine that the queen is somewhere else besides A8.
Can I pick up my queen and put her on D4?
Well, but then I don't get my pawn. I'm saying if it.
Oh, I'm sorry. After you take the pawn.
Yeah.
Oh, I misunderstood. I thought you meant in this original position.
Otherwise, I'm not getting my pawn.
I thought you meant like here it's always a draw, and I'm like, I don't know. If the queen were somewhere better.
Maybe it's not always a draw. Not here definitely, but if the queen was here, maybe here or something.
Mm-hmm. If the queen were on D4, I think it's winning for white.
It'd be hard to win, but
I don't think this would be hard to win at all. I think this would be quite easy to win, to be honest. I would just go like king c5.
But endgames are not my thing either, so.
Well, I mean, if the queen's on d4, obviously. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. This is drawn, clearly. So let's look at the game continuation. They agreed to a draw. We've traded a lot of pawns here.
Yeah, and I actually got to get going.
Yeah, okay. I'll put this all in myself. Thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it. It gives me a lot to bounce off of. It's a lot more fun when there's someone to talk to. So thank you very much, Chess Analyst. And Chess Analyst is going to put a link to his stream in the chat because he's going to be streaming his league game. As both of our games are over, you should go watch his game on his channel, which he's going to post in the chat.
Yep. Okay. Thank you for having me, and I will see some of you on my stream.
Awesome. Thank you, Chess Analyst. Okay, let me promote this, just so I can get the game continuation. After king e4, king g7, so I can show the end of the game. a5, okay, we took, it's very similar, taking or not taking. King g6. Now, if the white king rungs over, black will create a pass pawn. Both sides will queen, it'll be a draw. So the white king is tied here when the king is on g6. The white king cannot leave. So after king g6, we saw gf6, king f6, and this is looking fairly drawn. h5, trying to create a zugzwang. I'm using this extra tempo to force black's king to move. He went king f7, intending to meet this move with king e7 and taking the opposition, and I think that's probably what happened. Yep, king e5, king e7. Black has the opposition. I think the only thing that white can really try is f5, which was played, and after ef5, king f7, it's a draw. Black has the opposition. And here the game ended. So well played by Felix. And he navigated the king and pawn very well here. It was a nice draw from him. Even with the ruined structure, it was not enough for Tony Roan to push the win. Here the position looks nice, but after b6, black only has one set of weaknesses. The kings meet in the middle. I wasn't too sure about this move, bishop e6, but it seems the king and pawn is drawn. Here, white is really forced to trade because I am threatening to take your bishop, and if your bishop moves away, I don't think you're going to make any progress anywhere. Say you go bishop f3, at least you stop me from playing h5, but I can just move my bishop back and forth. And that should be drawn. So Tony Roan tried the king and pawn. g4, a nice move, gaining space. You don't want black to play h5 and trade this pawn off. King d7. This one's interesting. I think you can also go king e7 immediately if you'd like. But king d7 should be fine. h4, king e7, a4, king f7, g5. And I like this move, king g6. I think Felix realized that taking is not really helping him. We're giving away this square, which we don't want to do. I think it was also possible to take once. No, this would be bad actually. Because if you take once, I will take this way, and now all of a sudden I have an outside passed pawn. So very correctly, he decides not to take. And Tony realizes the same thing. Raise813 fan, thank you for watching. Who are you? Are you in 4545 League? Who are you? Do I know who you are on Slack? Hey K Farapont, nice of you to join. Yeah, good game. You played really well. You took advantage of your opponent's mistake. Oh, you're No Clue. Cool. Thanks for watching, No Clue. Always a pleasure. Yeah, after king e4. Tony Roan realizes that taking either of these pawns will not help him because it just leaves him with a worse structure. And if we take the other way, that's probably even worse because now the black king is closer to the center and cutting you out. And this would be drawn. In fact, this was probably transposed to the game. And after king e4, Felix finds this nice move, king g7. Not allowing, not trading. He's not gonna compromise. And if you trade, I will still come in on these same squares. So here, I think I wanted to play f5, which lost. I also wanted to play h5, which lost. In the game, we saw the more sane something else. What did we see? e5? No. We saw king d4. And after king g6, if you go king e4, that's a repetition. Try to a5. It was taken, wasn't it? Oh no, a5 was played immediately. Excuse me, I promoted the wrong variation. a5. Felix is happy to trade pawns here. Brings his king back. White's king is stuck here. And now, what is white to do? So, he has to trade, and this is just drawn. There's nothing you can do. King f7, very accurate. If you go king e7, you're likely losing, because my king will come in all of a sudden. Even this is not so clear. Well, but here I have this move. And you are losing. Because I have the opposition. As soon as you step aside, go here and you're just lost. So very accurate till the end. King f7, planning to take the opposition, and this is drawn. So very well played from both Tony Rowe and Felix. Tony Rowe got a slight edge out of the opening, but the endgame was not winning, and well defended by Felix. In the other game, a nice clinic by K. Farapont, who hopped on the stream. Nice to hear from K. Farapont. And he did a really nice job punishing Little Dead Bertha's blunder of g3. We see this bishop rakes through the f2 pawn, pinned to the king. So the move here, queen takes g3, is just crushing. And after this, K. Farapont, not the hyper-accurate win, but good enough to secure the full point. I especially like this move. We want to take this pawn on f5, and he found the move that I was rooting for, gf5. I like it very much. Planning to maneuver the rook to the g file, which will be mate. So well played by K. Farapont. And that was our 2 games for the day. If you want even more league coverage, please feel free to head over to Chess Analyst's channel where he's streaming his game. If you look up in chat, Mikhail Chigorin is Chess Analyst, and he's posted a link to his stream. I will be heading offline, so if you want more chess coverage, please head over to Chess Analyst. Thank you all for watching. It is a pleasure, and hopefully I'll catch you all tomorrow for openings and endings. Goodbye.